Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today I'm going to be doing some Infernity test hands. So I'm excited for this one because this deck is basically a deck that I carry around me a lot to do like solitaire hands, where I can actually do test hands essentially, where I shuffle up the deck and then see how many basically negates I can put on board, which is really helpful to do with this deck, because basically what you're trying to do with this deck is put all four of your basically negates on board with the form of your Infernity barriers and your breaks, because you play 3 barriers and 1 break, and you loop them out with your Archfiend to get them out on the field. You also have cards like Appaloosa in the extra deck, and cards that can copy effects like with your 100 Eyes Dragon to bring back your Necromancer, or with Necromancer's effect to bring back your copy of Archfiend, which is really helpful. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell on there so you can become part of Notification Squad. Definitely check out the Patreon down in the description, because we have some awesome rewards for you guys, like getting your name in the description of every single video, getting a signed card sent to you in the mail, or even getting a requested deck profile just like Infernity's every single time, or every single month. So let's get straight on into this guys. So let's see what we can actually do. I'm going to do some quick reveal hands, as I call them, where I reveal 5 cards off the top of the deck and briefly explain how we actually can play off of that hand and show you guys what we can do. So I will mention to you guys, Infernities is a really neat deck, but sometimes it can break because you're trying to get to that one card in your deck, but you're trying to loop out of it with using Yugioh and stuff like that. So Tatsunoko, that's basically a free material. Nessie, that's really good. Avenger, that's not too bad because it's a tuner monster, which is going to help us get into Needle Fiber. 1 for 1, that's an Avenger, or not an Avenger, but a copy of Necromancer, not Necromancer, Mirage. It's the one I'm trying to think of. And a barrier, so we don't have to search the barrier. So this is really interesting because you could do something as simple as set these two. We don't really care if the Avenger goes to the graveyard, and then immediately use the Nessie effect first, because if this gets discarded, it just special summons itself anyways. Use the Nessie, roll the die, say 1 and 2, or even and odd, and do a quick die roll. That actually rolled off camera, so let's do that again. So the Tatsunoko is even, and the Nessie is odd, and we're going to roll, and we get a 2, so even, odd. We're going to actually discard the Nessie, which is going to go to the graveyard and search us a copy of a danger monster, which is really cool because it can search us something like Jackalope, which then we can use again to roll the dice again. So not a bad hand at all. We do have 1 negate already in hand, and we have a couple of ways to get into some more negates and special summon out some monsters to our side of the field, which is not bad at all. But let's see what we can actually get off the next hand. So for the next hand, what we're going to do is a reveal hand to see what actually we can get. I will recommend, in between live duels or duels with this deck, definitely pile shuffle, because sometimes your cards, when you just shuffle like this, will actually stick and you'll get bricks with this deck, but you are trying to loop with your Archfiend, which is really cool. So let's see what we can get on our next hand and see what we can do. So for our next hand, we're going to draw into 5 and just reveal them really quick. So this is also not a bad hand because we have a bunch of danger monsters in the hand, so it can actually be really beneficial because you can use cards like Mothman, Chupacabra, or Tatsunoko just to get them out of your hand. You can use something like Mothman to make you draw a card and discard a card, or Tatsunoko to instantly get a monster out on your side of the field. Now the Mirage is going to be probably your 1 normal summon unless you can resolve these and draw a card. But let's go ahead and reveal that 1 card that you would draw off of at least 1 danger, which is going to be Archfiend, which is really good. So maybe save those cards until later on, because Archfiend is going to immediately net you a card, but that's going to be helpful because once you grab that 1 Archfiend, you can start looping it with Necromancers and drawing your Necromancers out off of your copies of Yugioh, which is going to be super helpful. So let's go ahead and do our next test hand and see what we can actually get, just for 1 more reveal hand before we actually play a hand out, because I really like doing it this way so you guys can actually see more test hands, so you guys can kind of think about it your own way when you get test hands like this. So barrier is not too bad because you can immediately just set it. Tatsunoko is not bad. World Legacy Succession, not bad. Jackalope, pretty good. And Stygian Street Patrol. None of this I would really mind discarding except the barrier, so I'd probably set the barrier to save it. And then I would reveal these for roll the dice, and then immediately get one of the dangers effects off. Either special summon or add from deck to hand, or special summon and draw a card, special summon and draw a card. So it depends on what you want to go for that route. So we don't really have a bad hand. It's basically danger Infernities, really, which is the way that you're going to be playing this deck a lot to get materials out for Yugioh to be able to special summon from deck. So let's do our last. Let's actually go into a test hand that we're actually going to play out and see what we can do. So you might get a good hand, you might get a bad one. It just kind of depends with Infernities. Infernities are kind of weird because you only have one Archfiend, and that card has been limited for a long time since the deck actually topped Worlds. This deck has actually won a Worlds one time. I think it was back in 2011 or 2012, somewhere in there. It actually won Worlds, which was interesting. So let's go ahead and play out a test hand and see what we can get. We're going to cut that deck really quick and see what we can do. So for the first test hand, I'm going to move this over real quick because we're going to set up a lot of back row, hopefully. Barrier right off the bat. Break right off the bat, so we don't have to search either one of those. Eccentric, not bad. You always set that. Another barrier, so we really may not even have to loop. When you get weird hands like this, you might not even have to loop. So we're going to go ahead and do something really simple and set 3. And then immediately, once you set 3, just in case you're playing against Mech Knights, set that Eccentric, because the Eccentric is actually going to search us out our copy of Archfiend from our deck to our hand. So at this point, you're going to pass. Your opponent's probably going to swing into this and destroy it. And then its effect is if it's destroyed by battle or by card effect, you get to search an Archfiend from your deck to your hand. Which the only Archfiend we actually play in the entire deck is Infernity Archfiend, which is not bad to have in our hand because we've already kind of established the lock right there. Because you can normal summon the Archfiend next turn and then just go off. You get weird hands like this. It's like, oh, I got everything I needed to search anyways. So that's fine. Whatever. So let's go ahead and draw for turn. So when we draw for turn, we're going to go into a Tatsunoko. That is not bad at all. Let's go ahead and normal summon this Archfiend, or actually, let's not. Let's play a little gambling game and go ahead and shuffle this up really quick. I don't know where the Archfiend is, but I am going to roll the dice just to prove a point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're going to roll, and we get a 1. So it's this one right here, which is the Archfiend. That is actually a really unfortunate hit, but we do get special summon the Tatsunoko, and we get to normal summon out our copy of Stygian Street Patrol. See, sometimes with the dangers, you will hit something that you don't want to hit, and go for a different play, which is kind of unfortunate, but let's go ahead and backtrack that and show you guys why it's important to actually normal summon the Archfiend when you have a field like this. So let's go ahead and show you that one. So we're going to normal summon that Archfiend instead and reshuffle back up this hand and go even odd. That's the really cool thing about test hands is you can actually backtrack. So even odd, and that's going to roll off camera. Let's try that again. So we rolled a 1 again. I promise it's not a loaded dice. So 1 right here, and we hit the Stygian Street Patrol. That's a lot better. So that's why you want to normal summon the Archfiend and get the cards out of your hand that you don't want to hit with your copies of your dangers. So we're going to send the Stygian Street Patrol to the grave, and we're going to special summon our Tatsunoko. Which if Tatsunoko is special summon, you get to draw a card, which is kind of cool. And we have normal summon this 1 time per turn, so we're going to draw into a Necromancer. So the really cool thing about this is since we did draw into a Necromancer, you can actually special summon the Necromancer off your copy of Stygian Street Patrol. So we're going to banish that Stygian Street Patrol, special summon that Necromancer, and then since we special summon the Necromancer, we can actually link summon, which is going to be really, really, really helpful to link summon in this deck. So we can actually go for a really cool play. Since we're in our 3rd turn, you can activate something like your Infernity Break, which I had to find it. There's Infernity Break. If you have no cards in your hand, you can target an Infernity card you control and 1 card your opponent controls, banish the first, and if you do, destroy the second. So that's going to be a big play to be able to have an Infernity on field. So you can actually hit one of your Infernity monsters on your side of the field to be able to get it off the field to be able to go into more plays. So at this point, we're actually going to destroy or banish this to pop a card on our opponent's side of the field, and we have 2 more negates right here. So at this point, you can just swing at your opponent and go from there. So that's for that test hand. Let's go into the next test hand where we can actually start looping. So for the next test hand, we're actually going to see if we can actually pull off the loop. So for the loop, you need to get out a monster that's a tuner monster, essentially, or an XYZ monster or something like that to be able to start looping your plays, to draw cards and stuff like that. Like 2 level 4s to go into number 60 or something like that. So Infernity Launcher, not bad. World Leg Success Session, not bad. Beetle, there we go, we got something good. A second Beetle, so the second Beetle, the Beetle is kind of dead, which we have Allure, which is totally fine. Let's go ahead and Allure and draw 2 and immediately banish one of those 2 Beetles because Beetle is now kind of dead because you do have 1 in your hand. And so now we could set the copy of Launcher and set the Succession on our side of the field. And you could do something as simple as normal summoning or setting the Beetle, and then your opponent's going to swing into it, and then you go to your turn again and draw, and you have a monster reborn. So the neat thing about this hand is now we're in turn 3, keep in mind, you could actually normal summon out the Necromancer. When it's summoned, it switches to defense, and then set the monster reborn, and then special summon the Patriarch. Now you have no cards in your hand, so you can activate the effect of Necromancer to bring back the Beetle onto your side of the field. So now we have some really interesting plays. We could actually link summon or synchro summon depending on what you want to do, because we actually have a Trishula, which I mentioned in my deck profiles, but you won't get to loop. So if you want to go into the Trishula and just pass with that, you can, and then go in for like Launcher to start looping again. You could go that route, or we could go for a copy of Stardust Charge Warrior, which is what I recommend. So we're going to go for Stardust Charge Warrior to see if we can top deck something really good, because this deck is all about top decking, essentially. So we're going to synchro summon with the Patriarch and the copy of our Beetle, and then go into Stardust Charge Warrior. Stardust Charge Warrior's effect is going to activate, letting us draw a single card. I will cut the deck for you guys to show you guys I don't know anything of what I'm actually about to draw. So we're going to draw, and it's a Danger Tatsunoko. That is not bad at all, actually. So we're going to activate the effect of Danger Tatsunoko. It's the only card in our hand, and if it's discarded, you get to special summon Tatsunoko. So we're going to special summon that Tatsunoko, and at this point, you're going to have a Necromancer on your side of the field that you can actually resolve, which is going to be super helpful to activate. So we're going to activate Necromancer's effect to bring out our Beetle. So it doesn't matter which one you go for, because at this point you're going to activate the effect of Yugioh. So we're going to link into Yugioh using all of these monsters on your side of the field and link directly into it. So I haven't searched the deck at all. I just shuffled, so I'm not going to shuffle again. I'm just going to go ahead and draw my 4 straight off the top of the deck. And we're going to get some interesting stuff. Let's hope. So that's not terrible. We do have the Yugioh on board, so we can special summon a monster from the hand, which is not terrible. We have the Necromancer, which is probably what I'm going to grab because it's going to help us loop a little bit more. And we're going to put these back on the bottom of the deck. So at this point, I'm going to use the Yugioh's effect because we did normal summon the copy of Necromancer right at the beginning of the duel, or right at the beginning of this turn, and I'm going to special summon this. Now I'm going to use the Necromancer's effect, and I'm going to bring back the Patriarch. The Patriarch is, bring back the Patriarch off of the Necromancer, and then at this point we have Launcher, wherever Launcher is. Actually, I'll keep the Launcher set. I'll activate the World Legacy Succession, bringing back my copy of Beetle. Beetle doesn't matter, you can bring back Stardust Charge Warrior, but when this card is synchro summoned, so you can't use its effect twice, which kind of sucks. I wish I just said when this card's special summon, you get to draw a card, but that card would be busted. We have a couple of different options here, but the main one that we're going to do is go directly into our second Yugioh, because we did stack the bottom of the deck with those cards, so we know we are going to kind of dig through the deck a little bit deeper. So immediately go into Yugioh, draw again for 1, 2, 3, and our 4th is going to be Infernity Barrier. Again, we're going to do kind of the same thing and go for our Necromancer. Again, put these back on the bottom of the deck. Doesn't really matter what order we put them on. And then we're going to use Yugioh's effect. Special summon Necromancer, do the same thing over again. Special summon out the Patriarch, and then flip our copy of Monster Reborn that thank goodness we had to special summon our copy of Necromancer. And the Necromancer is actually going to let us special summon another monster from our graveyard, which is going to be really helpful. Let's go ahead and special summon out our copy of Beetle onto our side of the field. So we actually got a little bit more advantage now because we've activated a Beetle and a Patriarch, or both of our Necromancers have been activated, and we have an extra monster on board, which is nice. So let's go ahead and leave this copy of Patriarch on the field. Actually, we can't. We have to leave one of the necromancers on the field because it has to be monsters with different names. So let's go ahead and link these away, and then go into our third and final Yugioh to dig out that copy of our our copy of Archfiend. So we're going to go ahead and hit it one more time and draw 4. So for the 4 that we're going to draw, we're going to draw out a third barrier, 1 Eris, 1 Chupacabra, and a Foolish Burial. That's not bad. The Foolish Burial is what I would keep to get that Archfiend out of the deck as quickly as possible, because that is the main concern at this point. We have loops, we have stuff that we can still do, so I'm going to activate that Foolish Burial, and we are going to hit that copy of our Archfiend, because I have a play, and I'm going to show you. We have the launcher set, which is going to get us a play. So we're going to shuffle that deck up because we did go into it. And once we do, we are going to activate our copy of Infernity Launcher. So Infernity Launcher's effect is going to let us send it to the graveyard because we have no cards in our hand, special summon the effect of our Archfiend, and then special summon a copy of Necromancer. The copy of Archfiend is then going to let us search our copy of Barrier. Barrier is going to get set onto our side of the field immediately to get it off the field, because you just don't want to have that card in your hand. And then we're going to use the effect of our Necromancer to special summon a Patriarch to our side of the field. Now, at this point, we have more plays. We have 2 level 4s on our side of the field, and we also have 2 level 3s. So we could use the 2 level 3s to summon a Chaos Dragon Levineer, or not Chaos Dragon Levineer, but Levineer the Sea Dragon, wrong one. Or we can use the number 60, Timeless, to be able to draw 2 or special summon a monster from the graveyard, which is going to be a little bit helpful, but you have to detach both materials. So let's go into this card, and I'm going to show you a really neat card combo. So you overlay into both of these, overlay into this, and when you overlay into this, you can special summon a monster from the graveyard. Guess what? We have another copy of Necromancer in the graveyard. Special summon the Necromancer to your side of the field. Activate the Necromancer effect to special summon out the Archfiend. Archfiend is then going to search again, and we're going to get another copy of Barrier. Now at this point, unfortunately, we don't have another Skulldread, which is kind of sad because we could link summon into another Skulldread. I wish Skulldread was like 16 in this deck, because it would make the deck infinitely better. But we don't. So at this point, we are going to have 2 barriers on our side of the field, and we're going to be able to link summon if we want to, or overlay into a monster. I would personally overlay because I have another really cool play that we can actually do. So let's go ahead and overlay our 2 monsters, our 2 Necromancers, straight into a Sea Dragon Levineer, and detach a material from this card to be able to special summon back our copy of the Levineer the Sea Dragon, which is going to help us out tremendously. So the Beetle is going to help out because we can actually Synchro Summon. So at this point, you can Synchro Summon for a 6, a 5, or a copy of, or a 9, which is Trishula. So unfortunately, we can't Synchro Summon for a 8, because if you can Synchro Summon for 8, you could go 100 Eyes Dragon, but we don't have the materials on the field to actually go into that. So let's go ahead and just Synchro Summon into a copy of our Trishula, because we're going to be able to actually that will turn off our card. So you could actually just end the field like this and be able to basically pass. Actually, no, we can keep going. Never mind. You can actually keep going. Link summon these 2 to the graveyard and go into your copy of Needle Fiber. Needle Fiber is then going to special summon Avenger to our side of the field, and at this point, you could link summon into Appaloosa, which is going to get us 6 negates on field. So we're going to link summon into these to the graveyard and keep the Chaos Dragon Levineer because you can actually use its effect later, and link summon into a copy of Appaloosa, or you could leave the Skulldread on the field and get rid of the Sea Dragon, which I'd probably do that, because you're not going to banish from the graveyard again, and summon the Appaloosa, which is going to gain an additional 300, and you put 4 materials into the Appaloosa, and you have 2 barriers. That's pretty good. You have essentially 4 negates, with the Appaloosa and 2 barriers with an Archfiend and a Soryuja boosting it up. That's not bad. That is not bad at all. I actually would probably go for that and say that was a good test hand. That was not bad at all. We didn't get all 3 and were able to loop for all 3 because we couldn't dig deep enough. But that's not bad at all. I wouldn't say at all. I mean, that was actually pretty cool. So let's try and do one more quick one. I won't keep you guys too much longer. We'll try and do one more quick one. We might do a quick reveal hand. If it's not great, we'll just call it there. So let's try one more. So for the last test hand, I will mention, do your pile shuffle. Make sure you do your pile shuffle in between your, and you can catch those. Make sure you do your pile shuffle in between your duels, because if you don't, again, they could get stuck and you could draw a bunch of barriers or a bunch of breaks or stuff like that you don't really need right off the bat because you're going to search them, or like 2 or 3 Mirage. If you need to draw a Mirage, that would not be a good time for you because you couldn't summon them, and then you'd basically be stuck. Because this deck is really good. It loops a lot, but it can brick if you draw too many of the same card. So let's go ahead and draw. So for our first turn, we're going to draw in a Monster Reborn, Archfiend, Nessie, and the Barrier. That's not terrible. Let's go ahead and set the Monster Reborn. I want to save that Monster Reborn, and I really want to save that copy. If we hit the Nessie, then it's pretty much over. So let's go ahead and roll. So we're going to roll 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this middle one is 5, and we hit the Archfiend. That is not bad. Special summon Nessie, Nessie effect, draw a card, and then basically get a Mothman. That's not bad. Special summon the Patriarch, and then immediately activate Mothman effect, reveal it, and it's the only card in our hand. So we are going to be able to draw a card, which is our Necromancer. That's not terrible because we haven't normal summoned actually. So let's go ahead and normal summon out the Necromancer, switch it to defense position, use its effect, special summon our Archfiend for the first Archfiend. And after we search that first Archfiend, we're going to be able to search the deck. At this point, you could search actually Mirage, or I'd probably search Mirage. Yeah, let's go Mirage. Let's go ahead and link summon right away for our copy of Soryuja. Soryuja effect, special summon, or actually, excuse me, I'm going too quickly. Draw 4. Let's go ahead and special summon after we draw. So we're going to draw 1, 2, 3, 4. Hopefully these be a spell. It's not a spell. Okay, that's not bad still. I've already normal summoned. Let's go grab a danger. Yeah, let's grab a danger. That's what I would do. And all of these go to the bottom of the deck. So put these on the bottom, doesn't matter what order to me. And we're going to use the Soryuja, special summon the Mirage, reveal this. It's going to get discarded. I would special summon back. You have to special summon back one of your monsters. Probably the Danger Mothman is going to be your best bet. Tribute the Mirage, Mirage effect, special summon from the graveyard, the Archfiend and the Necromancer. And then Archfiend is going to trigger searching your deck for another barrier. Set the barrier, activate the effect of Necromancer to special summon from the graveyard our Patriarch. And at this point, you can link summon again for another Soryuja, which is going to be helpful. We do have a revival. Excuse me. This is a fantastic test hand. Okay. Soryuja effect, draw a bunch of cards. And once we draw a bunch of cards, World Legacy Succession. Oh my god. Okay. Set this and activate the World Legacy Succession because you don't want to reveal that you have a Monster Reborn yet. Special summon the Archfiend. Or actually, no, don't special summon the Archfiend. Special summon the Necromancer. Special summon Necromancer. Necromancer special summons Archfiend. Archfiend's effect adds from deck to hand your last barrier. So we have barrier on the field for our last barrier, and we got all 3. You could keep going here, which I will actually see if I can dig just a little bit deeper and be greedy if I want to. Probably a bad idea because we do have all the barriers, but let's just see. Let's go Monster Reborn and bring back the Patriarch. Doesn't matter. Do I want to be really greedy? Yeah, I want to be really greedy. Let's go ahead and be really greedy. Let's link all these away for our last Yugioh. And hopefully draw a monster that we can special summon, maybe a Necromancer. That's what I'm hoping for, either a Necromancer or Launcher. Please. Please? There it is. Okay. See, that's why this deck is fun, because you get weird stuff like that, where it's just like, oh my god, that's dumb. Okay, so, Launcher. Launcher goes to grave. Special summons back our copy of Necromancer and our copy of Archfiend. Archfiend's effect is going to trigger. We haven't special summoned off the Yugioh, so I'm going to grab Mirage, because we can dig even deeper and go for our full negate combo. And now you can use the Necromancer's effect to link summon, or actually don't link summon, just special summon it out of the grave. Normal, or special summon out the copy of Mirage, and then now you can link summon. So we're going to link summon for our final copy with Appaloosa. Appaloosa has 4 materials into it, and now you can use the Mirage effect to special summon from the graveyard our copies of Archfiend and Necromancer. Necromancer is going to special summon our Patriarch to our side of the field, and we have some crazy boards. Okay, so at this point, you're going to search one more time with the copy of Archfiend, and we're going to get Break. Break is going to set to our side of the field, right there, and we're going to shuffle one last time, and we've done the full combo. Okay, so that's basically how you do this to get the monsters on the field. If you wanted to, you could overlay these two, detach the material, and then draw 2 more if you wanted to go that route, which would get you an Allure and this, and then you could use the Allure to draw 2 more, and then you would get the Chupacabra, but you're stuck with the Beetle in your hand, which is going to suck, so I wouldn't recommend that. I would just stop here and have the 7 negates on board. 7 negates. So that's what I'm going to end on, guys. I hope you like this test hand so I could actually show you how to do that. It's a little crazy, and it's kind of hard to pull off every time, but it does happen, and when it does, it's magical. I'm not going to lie to you guys, it is sometimes a brick, because this deck is crazy, and sometimes it just does that. So, anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Definitely tell me how you enjoyed this deck, because it was a lot of fun, and it's a really interesting deck to play around with. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification, become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below, because we have some awesome rewards for you guys, and we'll see you guys in the next test hand video or deck profile. See you later, guys.